Welcome everyone to show 13 of the 24-hour global commute. Over this 24 hours, we are visiting every time zone on the planet, and we have some amazing guests lined up. I'm Kate Holmes, host of the Innovating Advice podcast, and my co-host for this show is Gabby Cotton-Gambara. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, Kate. How are you?
I am doing well. I can't believe we're about halfway through now, just over halfway through.
Yeah, you've been going strong. You've been going for hours now, haven't you?
Yes, I think I'm on hour 7 now, but hey, that's nothing compared to the people that are doing all 24 hours. So hats off to them.
Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? What we're doing for charity.
Yes, no, it's so fantastic. And Gabby, I just have to ask, so you are from Italy, correct?
Yeah, I'm half Italian, so my father's Italian, and I lived there for around 7 years.
And I know you love gelato, and it is super hot here. I had a cardigan on and I was like, I don't think I can handle it now. We're approaching, I think we're probably about 41 degrees right now. And I was just thinking about that and I was like, man, I could go for some gelato right now.
Oh my word. Oh, I miss Italy so much with the lockdown and everything. I normally visit like a couple of times a year, so I get to have like proper gelato, and I've really been craving it lately as well because the English weather has taken a turn and now it's a little bit more sunny. So yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, hopefully you can get back there soon. My husband and I went to Italy last October. Beautiful country, just so much to offer, and we'll all get back to traveling again at some point and see each other in person. But how fantastic is it that we can connect all over the world? We've got people, you guys are in the UK, I'm here in the US. Our main guest is from New Zealand. So how awesome is it that we live in a day and age where we can all come together and connect virtually for great causes, hear from so many experts around the world. And along the way, we're raising money for great charities. So in the US, we're focused on raising money for Quad A, the Association of African American Financial Advisors, and Color of Change, both to raise money for the Black Lives Matter movement. And the team in the UK is raising money for two great charities in CF Warriors, helping kids overcome cystic fibrosis, and the Stroke Association. And knowing we've got listeners all over the world, it's been fun hearing from people on LinkedIn and Twitter. Any charity that is near and dear to your heart, there are so many charities that could use our donations at this time who lost funding during and because of the coronavirus lockdown. So please feel free to donate, dig deep in those pockets. We just had Steve Martin complete an epic Ironman cycling challenge. He might be asleep right now. He did amazing. So dig deep. Let's come together as a global financial planning community. Let us know what your donations are because we're tracking those. So we'll hear more about that later in the show. But Gabby, what do we have coming up in this show?
Thanks, Kate. On this show, we have an interview with Paul Sewell, CFP and Director at Financial Advice Hawke's Bay. And we will be joined by Rob Tedder of I4C, who'll be looking at some developments in the world of cash flow modelling.
Fantastic. And we're going to kick off here with Chris Budd, who is the host of the Financial Wellbeing podcast and founder of the Initiative for Financial Wellbeing, bringing us a financial wellbeing thought of the day and another fantastic shirt. What do you have for us now, Chris?
Thanks, Kate. This is my last one today, so this is my last shirt. I hope you like. If you haven't been watching all of these, then you've missed some really impressive shirts along the day. And I can only apologise to Kate who's seen all of them, who's had to endure the whole lot. So the Initiative for Financial Wellbeing is a new institute in the UK. We started up a bunch of us at the beginning of the year, not-for-profit organisation. And the idea is that we want to help advisors to help their clients to become happier, not just wealthier. We want individual members, so come and join. You can just Google it, is the easiest way of doing it. We also want to hook up with providers to help spread this word as wide as we can, that financial planning is about happiness and it's not about money. So just my final little tip is I just want to explain the Kolb's cycle of learning. So there's something called self-limiting beliefs, where we have beliefs about money that actually do us harm. And we need to get out of those self-limiting beliefs in order to improve our decisions about money. And the way that these beliefs arrive is this Kolb's cycle of learning. So what happens is something happens to you, have an experience, and that experience leads to some sort of a reaction, a conclusion. That is then turned into an action to kind of test out your conclusion, and that action leads to a new experience, and so on, and round and round and round we go, like from the day that we're born. So if we unravel all of those things, we start to realize that what we believe in today is only a belief because of the collection of experiences we've had through our lives. And you get to the conclusion that beliefs are not truths, which is an incredibly powerful concept. Beliefs are not truths. It explains why one person will vote for one party, vehemently, adamantly believing it to be the right thing to do. Somebody will vote for another party, and they both believe that absolutely right. But of course, neither are right. It's just beliefs. It's not truths. Now, when this comes to money, we have behaviors with money. If you might hear a client might say, I don't believe in, I'm not very good at money, or I don't like investing in the stock market, it's not for me. They aren't facts, they aren't reality, they are beliefs. So if we can unpack some of those beliefs, we can improve our relationship with money, and we can use money as a tool to be happier, and not just wealthier. So I just want to finish by saying that you guys are fantastic. Kate, you particularly have just been amazing throughout the last, I don't know, 10 hours has it been you've been doing this, and you've got a few more left. So thank you so much for your commitment to the next gen. And I'm now going to go away and have a glass of wine and let other people go through the night.
That sounds great. Chris, thank you so much for joining us, for all of your wonderful financial well-being thoughts of the day. I'll miss you in the next couple of episodes, but we had a great chat on my podcast, The Innovating Advice Show, which is coming out next week. So for those that want to get more of Chris's great wisdom, we dive into a lot of the things around the Initiative for Financial Well-being and, really using money for happiness, not just for building wealth for the sake of building wealth. So Chris, I'll miss your shirts. I think somebody needs to put together, get screenshots from all the different episodes so we can have a little collage of that. So thank you. Enjoy that glass of wine. Very well deserved.
Thanks,
I'll
Kate.
be there in about 5 hours.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. So now we're going to cross over to Gabby, who is going to chat with our guest for this show.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kate. And thank you, Chris. I love hearing your well-being tips. I'm really excited to be interviewing Paul Sewell, CFP and Director at Financial Advice, Hawke's Bay. Hi, Paul. To begin with, I would love to hear about how you became financial.
So it looks like Gabby froze. Yep, yeah. That's all right.
Okay,
so,
well, look, okay, all good. So Gabby, well, look, I started my career in financial services and banking, and after a while, I thought, look, it wasn't quite doing it for me. And I was reading a weekly article on financial planning in the Dominion Post, which is Wellington City's morning newspaper. And I liked the person's approach to financial planning and the common sense messages that they were telling each week. So I approached the company, and the company's called Financial Fitness Limited. And I started as a self-employed contractor to them. And interesting enough, the business used to have a logo of a male with no top on, holding a dollar sign above his head. So financial fitness, so the logo was changed pretty quickly. So it took me about 6 months to get a new client. So I ate a lot of 2-minute noodles in the first year. And I was certainly grateful for the opportunity and the mentoring that I received. And it was a great move for me, as financial services opened up a lot of doors, and it's been a rewarding career today. What do I love about the job? Look, I love meeting and talking with people. I love presenting plans, but I hate producing them. I like to help people make smarter choices. And I find that throughout the process, you help to provide comfort to people, you help take away the stress, and I like to see people to make more informed decisions. And obviously over time, when you spend time in the career, you actually get to see people achieving their objectives, which is what it's all about.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. And who in the profession has provided you with the most inspiration, and why?
Yeah, look, I was lucky as my first role in financial planning was working with certified financial planning professionals, and they provided the systems and structures and a pathway for me. So part of the process for me was I had to join a professional body And as a member of that professional body, you have to obtain the Certified Financial Planning mark. So I'm thankful to the two principals who, together with the professional body, continue to push raising standards, which is well above the minimal requirements for financial planning. So Financial Advice New Zealand continues to do that. And so I'm very thankful for those that have contributed to the intellectual knowledge and the time that they have spent in developing the profession.
Awesome, great stuff, thank you. Could you tell us a little bit about your business and operating model?
Yeah, sure. Look, 9 years ago, I returned from Sydney, Australia, to raise my three girls. They're 14, 12 and 8. And we've returned to my hometown. So it's Napier, New Zealand, middle of the North Island on the east coast. So we're two little islands in the middle of nowhere. Of course, then we've got no COVID cases in Napier. Look, I operate a company structure. We've got 2 shareholder employees and an office manager. We link into 30 other non-aligned independent financial advisors throughout New Zealand to leverage technology, research. We employ a research consultant and we have a compliance manager that helps support those 30 advisors around the country. We have about 250 clients that generate 80% of our revenue, and we spend 90% of our time with them. And we have 2,250 others that are linked to our business. So we have a large funnel if business gets quiet. In New Zealand, the New Zealand government did a great thing probably about 12 years ago. They introduced KiwiSaver, which is a superannuation for New Zealanders. It's not compulsory, but most Kiwis have taken it up. And they're able to save a minimum of 3% of their salary, which goes directly into superannuation, and the employer has to top that up to 3%. But we can increase those contributions quite substantially now. And so we do have a large number of people who are KiwiSaver clients. We have, I guess, 110 million in funds under advice, and we operate 2 platforms with custodial services. So we run what we call individually managed accounts, where we outsource the fund selection, research and asset allocation, and we also have custom accounts. So it really just depends on the client needs and how they've operated in the past as to how we actually operate.
Okay, thank you, Paul. I understand that there are some significant regulatory changes taking place in New Zealand. What impact will this have on the market, and how will it affect clients?
Yes, there's always change in regulations throughout the world, isn't there, in terms of financial advising or financial planning. Those changes have been delayed now until March next year. It's actually called FSLAB, or we call it FSLAB. It's Financial Services Legislation Amendment Bill. It's great as it will be raising the minimum standards, and we should get better client outcomes for clients. So currently there's about 1,800 advisors that are legislated to put client interests first in New Zealand. Next year, all financial advisors will have to meet a professional code of conduct and put clients' interests first. So anything that we do to increase standards is good for clients. However, this does come at an increased compliance cost, which will need to be passed on to clients. And probably, unfortunately, over the next 3 years, there's like to be a wave of advisors leaving the profession as licensing kicks in, perhaps some potential early retirement within the sector.
And staying with clients, for you, what are the most important questions that you ask your clients?
Yeah, I guess like a lot of financial planners, we have this very large, horrible financial planning questionnaire that people have to complete and work through, which often tends to be a barrier to financial planning. But I guess not so much perhaps the questions. It's probably more an art than a science, isn't it? And it's teasing out the questions, teasing out the answers within the questionnaires to get to really understand the client, what their objectives are, what's worked for them in the past, what hasn't, Yeah, so probably I like clients to try and expand. So I'll try and expand on how they've answered questions to really try and understand what they're trying to achieve and work out their values, what they've spent their money on in the past, because often a budget doesn't tell you much about their expenditure and how they've spent funds in the past, which helps to understand the values of the clients. So probably it's all about trying to understand the values and their objectives and what they're really trying to achieve, and to assist in the whole financial planning process.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can all agree that that's really important. And finally, Paul, how do you see financial planning developing in New Zealand?
Yeah, look, I really look forward to using more tech in financial planning process to enable better service and scale within our businesses. I'll see part of the challenge with new legislation is that we'll have close to 20,000 advisors in New Zealand that can call themselves financial advisors. So generally, I guess in New Zealand, if you complete a New Zealand Certificate in Financial Services, which is a level 5 qualification, you can operate as a financial advisor. So there is no, I guess, clear differentiation for the public. So over the next decade, there's a real opportunity for financial advisors to differentiate themselves by belonging to, say, Financial Advice New Zealand, which is our professional body, and getting on the Certified Financial Planning train.
Great. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you for your insights.
Oh, thanks very much. Appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Gabby and Kate.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Gabby. It's good to learn. It's always fascinating, to see the similarities and differences in regulation and practice. Paul, love hearing you say like you'd like to adopt more technology. That's really where we're seeing the profession going, and people need to evolve to be adopting that. So appreciate those insights there. So now we're going to hop over to a new segment. We've got James Fitzgerald, James, of New Model Advisor on this show, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. Firstly, apologies for the technical issues earlier. Hopefully my sound's working now.
Perfect.
Yes, good news. Well, good morning, everyone in New Zealand, and good evening to those in the UK, and welcome to the night stint of the Next Gen 24-hour commute. Going to focus on some Antipodean news at the moment, mainly New Zealand, because it seems very apt. So, big news today, New Zealand and Australia are looking all set to win their joint bid for the 2023 Women's Football World Cup, as Japan are expected to drop their bid today. And FIFA is set to announce the winner this Thursday, so definitely keep an eye peeled for that, and that will be huge. In what is believed to be a first, the ever mysterious British artist Banksy is selling some of his popular yet elusive arts at the International Arts Centre in Parnell, Auckland next week, June 30. Each of the 3 numbered screen prints expect to sell for anywhere between 15,000 and 20,000 New Zealand dollars. So if you have a bit of cash to splash, head down there next week and put a bid in, if you're local, of course. And finally, some good news for Kiwis. The Fijian government is in talks with the New Zealand government of providing New Zealanders with luxury hotels and resorts on the cheap, so the country can begin welcoming New Zealand tourists again, which I'm sure will be good news considering we're heading into a very, very brisk southern winter at the moment. Although if you're thinking of doing it in the next few weeks, probably not, as I think Steve mentioned earlier, there's a few new COVID cases in New Zealand at the moment, brought in by British travellers, I believe. So fun. But that's all the news this morning for New Zealand, and I look forward to speaking to you all shortly in the next shows.
Fantastic. Thanks, James. It'll be good to see and good for New Zealand and Australia if FIFA selects it there. So big news to watch this week for sure.
Exactly.
So now
should be very good.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's also looking forward to a time when we can all go watch sport again. So
I cannot wait.
Yeah, you and so many others, definitely. So I'm going to hand it over to Rob Tedder. I'm not sure if I said that correctly, of I4C, who's going to give us a rundown on the latest developments in cash flow modeling. Rob?
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, got it perfectly spot on. So thanks a lot for that. Yeah, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I've got the next sort of 6-7 minutes, I think, to talk about cash flow, and I like to talk cash flow, so you might have to cut me off at some point. So we'll see how we get on. It's a subject that's massively close to my heart. I used to be a power planner, and I've seen how powerful it can be. It is one of the most powerful tools you can get within the financial services industry. And over the course of the next week, this next gen conference the whole conference week is amazing. The whole lineup today, 24 hours, the sessions tomorrow, the day of conferences later as well. The amount of one day of CPD to cover you for the rest of the year is a brilliant idea, and hats off to the guys that have organised it. And we're really excited to be part of this week because it's all about speaking to people that are really excited about technology. It's all about talking about innovative financial planners. It's looking at the ways that you can help demonstrate and deliver the best level of service to your clients. And through technology, that can certainly help that. And there's all sorts of ways that you can help your clients and help. I think one of the things that Chris said earlier was it's about making clients happier and not just wealthier. And I think that's one of the best ways of summing up true financial planning. And I think it's getting the client to look at their overall bucket list, looking at all their objectives, all the things that they want to achieve, whether it's as simple as kind of when can they retire? Well, that could ever be that simple, but it could be things like when can I take round the world holidays? It could be the whole sort of bucket list picture. And it's opening up their eyes to think about that bigger picture and think about the wider aspect of planning and all the different things that they can achieve if their plan is structured in the right way. Whether it's taking the right bits of income in the right places or the right wrappers, it's getting that bucket list and those objectives and that financial plan down on paper in the first place, which is the absolute crucial thing. I think it's just so important that planners are there to listen to their clients and listen to everything they're saying and listen to have the right questions and draw that information out of them. And I think cash flow modeling is a massive part of that process. It's being able to visualize the process of actually how things might look in the future, whether it's downsizing the house, whether it's retiring early, whether it's spending a whole lot of money on buying a holiday home in Tuscany. It's about looking at that bigger picture. And it's the transformative nature of the whole process, which is massively important to businesses. I've been a power planner. I've looked from within the industry. I've looked at kind of how it can transform a business in terms of actually the revenue it can produce. The firm that I used to work for adopted cash flow as a part of their central proposition, and it massively transformed their revenue from year to year. It transformed the relationships they had with clients. It changed the way that they were interacting with their clients. They were asking a lot more questions. They were getting a lot more answers, and as a result, they were getting a lot more stickier relationships with them. They were gaining the trust. They were being looked as, I want to say, lifetime financial planners, rather than just being kind of just looking at the money, looking at the finances of it all. They're looking at everything. They're looking at the children. They're looking at, do they want to go and watch the tennis in the Australian Open or the French Open or anything like that? It's just the bigger stuff and all the different questions that clients might not necessarily be able to answer. One of the things that Paul said really stuck out for me, and I think it was the fact that he loves presenting financial plans, but he doesn't necessarily like producing them, which made me laugh because I thought, whilst there is a niche of kind of IFAs or planners in this country they've absolutely mastered the art of cash flow modeling, they've mastered the art of presenting that financial plan to a client, they're still a minority, I think, in this country. There's people that dabble in it, and I think Next Gen is probably breaking the mold. I think there's so many of the planners that we speak to that are part of the Next Gen group are already thinking about how they can be adopting cash flow as a core part of their process, and they've seen the value in it. But we go to all sorts of different conferences and webinars and seminars and all sorts of things, and it's brilliant. You say to people, who's using cash flow modeling? And they say, right, yeah, hands in the air. We're all using it. And okay, brilliant. That's the starting point. That's the absolute basis. That's the key thing for us, is that everybody's adopting cash flow modeling in some respect. And then you start drilling down a bit further into the detail, and you start to think, well, you've got who's using it live with their clients, and then sort of about half the hands go up probably, and then who's using it as a back office tool, and you sort of go through the motions and all the different questions, that ways that people are using it. And I just think that not using cash flow modeling live with clients is such a waste. It is all about interacting and engaging with your clients and getting the right information out of them, fact find them, getting that bigger picture stuff before you even start thinking about the investments, the assets and everything. You need to really drill into the client's psyche and see exactly where they want to be and when they want to be there. And I think it's really important that there's various myths, I think, that are kind of associated with cash flow modeling. And we'll be tackling some of those in one of our sessions this week. But just to give you a brief kind of a couple of samples of those. I think the first one is that cash flow modeling is too complex, it's too complicated, it takes forever to learn. And I think, yeah, it might do in some respects. And I think some of that is partly the fear of change, maybe the fear of change of actually adopting new technology and seeing the technology that could actually transform your business. But the technology should be there to help you. I think there's an onus on us as the technology providers to be there to make sure that we are innovating and developing and creating new ways of being able to use the technology with clients. But there's also an onus on the actual planning community to be adopting that change. And I think it's really important that there's a balance in the mix there. It's expensive. It's another level of cost that we're going to add to our monthly subscriptions. And I say, yeah, it is another subscription, but I guarantee if a firm was to, maybe it's a bit bold to say I guarantee it, but I strongly massively feel that adopting cash flow modeling will increase your revenue. I've seen it happen. I've seen it transform businesses that we work with day in, day out, and have seen them start off with that kind of, we'll get our confidence up, we'll work with the tool, we'll get to that point, evolve into giving it to every client, going through all the different motions, going through all the different client questions. And it just transforms the way in the relationships and transforms the client's view of their financial planner. And the actual money that it can generate will dwarf the monthly subscription cost. Not for all clients. It can be for any client. I've used it with my in-laws. It was a very interesting conversation. Drop the bomb and say, Mr., you can retire early. Mrs., you got to work for a bit longer, or vice versa. And you just drop the bomb and leave and just say, right, you can argue that out amongst yourselves, and I'll just leave now and let you have a little conversation. But it's just encouraging those sorts of relationships at different levels and actually saying, yes, you can retire early. No, you can't. Who can do it? And encouraging that kind of conversation, which I think probably comes back down to the financial well-being aspect and saying, well, people are scared of talking about money, and actually cash flow modeling can help visualize it all and actually help people embrace it and bring it to the forefront of their minds and get them engaging in it a lot more. I've already talked about this. Technology should be there to do all the work. It's on us to make sure that it's easy to use and simple. Alongside that, it's actually making sure that there are the right integrations in place, there are the right process, whether it's going into CRM systems, data through client portals, feeding into cash flow tools feeding back into client portals. It's all about that technology journey in the most engaging and informative way for the clients. There seems to be a massive kind of there's a big disconnect between a mix of people that think cash flow is all about sustainability, it's all about money in, money out. There's another side of the story which is actually all about its long-term financial planning. It's looking at tax, it's looking at IHT, it's looking at all the different aspects of value. The FCA talked to us about demonstrating value for clients, and it's the most important thing is to be able to demonstrate the value in relation to the fees that you're charging. And cash flow certainly helps develop that long-term relationship and identify it. And it's crucial as part of that. And I think the future, technology as a whole, I think Paul said it himself, he's really excited to be able to adopt technology and help it sort of grow his business and see how that develops. I think it's down to us, along with AI, that sort of thing, talking to planners, feeding them data, the data that we can collect. What can we do with that? Whether it's nudges on allowances, whether it's nudges when there's market shocks, it's talking about how we can interact day-to-day financial planning and embrace the technology to actually give more information over to the planners. And I think the last thing probably just to talk about is just, I can sit here and I'm a cash flow evangelist, I think you could probably say. I've used it for the last 15 years or so within the industry. I fully appreciate it isn't a one size, it's not a solution to end all kind of problems for clients, but it's certainly part of that process. It's helping them, give them knowledge to make informed decisions and take them through that journey to the stage that they get to being happier, but not necessarily wealthier. So I think I've probably talked my limit there, so I'll hand back to Kate, but thank you very much for the opportunity, and best of luck for the rest of the night.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks, Rob. And totally agree on the need to be doing it in an interactive way with clients. And when financial planners aren't doing that, or even financial planners that don't actually do any cash flow modeling, maybe it's only, really forward looking for retirement, but it's so important to be doing it now. So thank you for being an evangelist for that, because it's still one of those things that some people are like, oh, it's only for financial coaches and financial planning doesn't need to do that. But I'm with you. It absolutely needs to be done right up front. Have those deeper conversations, like you said, before you dive into investments or tax or employee benefits or any of that stuff.
Yeah, brilliant. Couldn't agree more.
Fantastic. So we're going to pop over to the UK and check in with our amazing financial planners that are giving up their Monday to do various charity challenges to raise money for Stroke Association and CF Warriors in the UK. So let's start with Alistair, who's part of the Minecrafting group, continuing their 24-hour challenge to build a virtual conference venue.
Hi, Kate. How you doing?
I'm good. How are those zombies coming along?
Okay, so the team have talked, and we realised between us we've done over 36 hours now, if you add up each of our times, and we've done about as much as we can bear to on the conference hall. It's got a nice little extra surprise that we'll show you later on. I need to get some sleep. I've got I've got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I need to be able to get up with them in the morning. Let me just get the get Minecraft on, and I've been told we need some action shots. So hopefully you can see this here.
Yep.
We've got this little slightly scary area down here. Oh yeah, that'll be a skeleton firing arrows at me. So let's see if we can find. Oh, hello. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh, it's all happening here. So little cave spider. Sorry about that. If anyone's a vegan on the show, don't think zombies count. Right, there we go. Phew, survived that encounter. But no, we are, we've built the venue, which is what we set out to do. Clem's going to keep an eye on it overnight. I believe she's on the night shift, and she has the dubious honour of making sure nobody kills our cat. So that's also very important. But no, there's a serious thing here. We wanted to. I'm just going to leave the front shot. We're not going to do the tour yet. But we all wanted to go to a real life venue, and this may be a not quite a fair representation of that. But hopefully it captures the spirit of Next Gen. We do have a curry house hidden in there as well, which is very important. So yeah, we're raising money for charity. Please stick your hands in your pockets and give some money. Every little helps. There's 2 great charities in the UK and a swathe of brilliant charities across the world. So please do help.
Yeah, fantastic. So Alistair, does the cat have a name?
Oh gosh, you know what? I think it would only be fair to let Gretchen name the cat. I've got to say, if anybody was going to name the cat, it would be Gretchen. So I'll take a screenshot of it and I'll send it to Gretchen on Twitter, and we'll get her to name it. But I do think it's only fair. Here we go. Look, still here, still guarding the auditorium. So yeah, that's me. That's Minecraft. I'm going to go and try and de-square my eyes, as I've been sat in front of this screen since 8 o'clock this morning.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for what you guys are building. It looks super fun. I'm excited to see the surprise when that's revealed. I hope you get some good sleep, and I'll be seeing you again on the final show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And now let's pop over to Jess Gear, who has been ascending the equivalent of Britain's highest mountain on her stairs. Jess, do you have shoes or socks on yet?
I've got socks on. I've got some fluffy. Oh my God, look at the bottom of them. Ah! They're all completely worn. I'm glad I've got the socks on. That's not actually my foot now, though.
So how's it going?
So I'm up to 480 now, which I've just passed Wales' highest mountain of 475. So I'm getting there, about 100 left to go. So hopefully it'll be done in the next half an hour-ish. It feels like it's taken a long time.
No, you've been doing absolutely amazing, and feel free to remind people that you're not doing this because it's your favorite thing to do on a Monday afternoon.
No, you've got to challenge yourself, haven't you? We're here to support some great causes that, the Stroke Association as well is very personal to me, and also cystic fibrosis. There's a lot of kids out there that are struggling, and we're going to do such amazing things for their lives that it's all for a great cause. And I also want to say thank you to everyone that's sent me nice messages on Twitter. It's really appreciated. Thanks.
Oh, That's awesome. Well, thanks for keeping us all motivated. Thanks for what you're doing. You're also setting a great example for other financial planners, for your clients, and to those financial planners tuning in from around the world. Like they said, please dig into your pockets, wherever you're at in the world, donate to the charities we've selected in the UK, in the US, or any other charities that are important to you. You can find the links in the show notes below and in the chat. And Gabby, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, so our next show is at 21:30 UK time, and we'll be chatting to CEO of Financial Advice New Zealand, Katrina Shanks, and Justin King will bring us the first of a two-part focus on the Kingdom Method.
Fantastic. And I imagine we'll see Jess complete her ascent up the stairs. So that'll be great to see. Thanks, Gabby. Super fun having you here. I'm back in about 25 minutes with co-host Marcus Farnfield with me. So we will see you all back here then. Thanks so much and bye for now.